another boxing video. And this is my breakdown and prediction for this WBC Interim Junior Welterweight Championship title championship between Julius and 20. What is Julius Indongo? I think he's about 20, 22 and 1, 22 and 1, 11 KOs versus Regis Prograis, who is 20 and those 17 KOs. Now, this is a very good fight right here. A step up fight, two back to back step up fights for the man Regis Prograis. I don't know if I'd really call this a step up fight for Julius Indongo after facing, arguably, not even arguably. Yo, what's happening? Boxing fan, he says, "What going, B Marsh? What going, Star? What's goody with you, man?" Just here, man, giving y'all a prediction, man. Man from Namibia, the Blue Machine versus Roger, the Prograis kid, Rougarou, or whatever they call him, the monster from Louisiana, Man, this is a good fight, but like I was saying, I don't quite know if this is a step up fight for Julius Indongo after facing the number one pound for pound fighter on the planet in you know, Terrence Crawford. But that fight didn't actually go in favor of the man Julius Indongo versus Bud Crawford. You know what I mean? That fight it was pretty short. Terrence Crawford dominated real quick and real fast. Boxing fan says in the chat, Progress isn't a cherry pick. Progress can give Indongo problems, but hopefully the Blue Machine can pull it off. I feel you, man, and that's what I'm about to get into. You know what I mean? You see, this guy Regis Progress. This is a classic fight. Two guys right here, two southpaws. I definitely agree with boxing fan in the chat saying Progress is not a cherry pick. Not at all. Not at all. You see, Julius Indongo, he rose out of mediocrity or obscurity real fast. You know what I mean? You know, a year or two ago, not too many boxing fans really knew about this guy. You know what I mean? He got on the scene after he knocked out the man, Edward Trudanowski, in Russia. Got himself an IBF belt, knocked that man out in like 20 seconds. You know what I mean? Wasn't too much film or film study we could really go off that fight. Then he got a unification fight with the man Ricky Burns, in Scotland, and he beat him pretty easily. I had Ndongo winning that fight easily every single round. Then his last fight was against Terrence Crawford, where he got bodied with a body shot, in the third round. So, Julius Ndongo's coming off a loss, and he's coming up into a title eliminator fight, basically. A little, interim title don't hurt because if he wins this fight, then he gets an opportunity to fight for the WBC title. And I think Julius Ndongo is definitely the outboxer in this particular fight. You know what I mean? He's a guy who wants to stay on the outside, wants to pump his jab. You know what I'm saying? He's awkward, definitely an awkward fighter, not a straight up and down basic fighter. You know what I mean? But he is a guy who can throw punches in different angles. You know what I mean? Especially when he gets his rhythm in there. You know what I'm saying? Blinding an opponent with the jab. Oh, boxing fans in the chat. He says, MB's in the chat. He says two southpaws never usually get for a good fight. I was about to get into that, MB. Boxing fan says the Blue Machine need a win while Progress can take a loss and bounce back. Otherwise, it's gonna be He's gonna be done for him. He's already 35 years old. MB says, really like Progress, if he can get on the inside, he can work through Ndongo's body with variety. Rob Gotti is in the chat. What's happening, Rob Gotti? He says, Progress, easy work. Now, this is a fight right here where a lot is going to be, it's going to be a test for both of them, you know what I mean? I think it's a bigger test for the man Progress, who I've been watching since he's been on Showbox, you know what I mean? And on PBC FS1. And he's been handling his opponents quick, fast, and in a hurry, in quick fashion, you know what I'm saying? He's had numerous knockouts. He's on a string of a knockout streak. And this last fight versus Joel Diaz, he basically put the pain to him, you know what I mean? He brought the pain, dropped that left hand in there, dropped it like, numerous times on the man Joel Diaz, and Joel Diaz was an undefeated fighter. You know what I mean? So this is also again, like I said, a step up fight for Rougarou, Regis Prograis. But I think the man Prograis is an aggressive fighter, and he's a type of fighter who can take a punch to give a punch. That's basically how he fights, especially when he has you hurt. You know what I mean? There's no holding him back when he has you hurt. And that's one thing Julius Indongo has to be aware of, you know what I mean? This guy right here, when he has you hurt or when he smells blood, you know what I mean, senses fear, he lets off combinations at a rapid speed, you know what I mean? This guy Progress definitely has hand speed. And with that hand speed, Julius Indongo is more not really a combination puncher. You know what I'm saying? He's more of a 1-2 puncher. You know what I'm saying? He can dig shots in the body, you know what I mean? From whether it's a jab from the right hand or the left hook or the right hook into the body, you know what I'm saying? But when he's moving around, that's going to give the man Regis Progress, he's going to have to, Progress is going to have to follow the man because that's what he's intending to do. The pressure fighter in this fight is definitely the come forward fighter is Progress, you know what I mean? Julius Ndongo, I'm not saying has to be on his bicycle or run it, but he's going to have to keep this guy at jab, at length, you know what I mean? He's going to have to also set up a lot of traps, you know what I'm saying, for Progress, because Progress is we see if this fight was between a right-handed, if Julius Ndongo was a right-handed fighter, I'd give him a big chance to win this fight, you know what I mean? But he's not. It's a left-handed fighter, you know what I'm saying? Both guys are not accustomed to fighting left-handed fighters. They're more fight orthodox fighters as opponents. So, like was it MB? I think MB mentioned it. It might be a dull fight, you know what I'm saying? And I agree. You check it. Indongo is a guy who, if he uses his length and his reach, moves around, you know what I'm saying, pivots to the man and keeps circling left, you know what I'm saying? He got to keep circling to his left to avoid any big shots from this guy, Regis Progress, you know what I mean? Regis Progress is the type of guy who also fights off of reflexes, you know what I mean? He's not that defensively sound or defensively responsible. And that's where the man, Julius Ndongo, has to take advantage, you know what I mean? When the guy's moving, his head movement, and fighting off of reflexes, you know what I'm saying? Julius Ndongo has to set up his jab and time the guy. When the guy moves, he has to set up some rapid shots, quick, fast, you know what I'm saying, to catch the guy while he's bobbing and weaving, you know what I mean? Because like I said, he fights more for reflexes when it comes to defense. You check it. And if Julius Ndongo can do that, he's going to have to make this guy reset every single time. And that could throw this guy's rhythm off, you know what I mean? Let me see what fella's saying in the chat. Where did I leave off? Hop, hey, what's happening, Hop? How you doing, man? He's in the chat. He says, just came in. Did you mention Ndongo's height at 5'10"? Nah, I didn't mention. He is 5'10", and I think the other guy, Progress, is 5'8", and Ndongo definitely has like a 4-inch reach advantage at 71 inches, and the shorter guy in Progress has a 67-inch reach. MB says Ndongo is 11 to 1 to win by knockout. Crazy odds. Yeah, that's possibly not happening. If it does, we'll all be shocked, and whoever made that bet on him, it's going to be paid. Hops in the chat, 4.5-inch reach advantage. Yep, for Ndongo. MBT says, what's good, what's happening? MBT boxing from the land down under. What's happening, big man? Hops in the chat, he says that MBT is saying what's up to MBT. So, yeah, man, MBT brought up the reach and the height, and like I said, from the pictures, it looks like Julius Ndongo was possibly 6 feet. You know what I mean? He is a tall dude. But Regis Progress might be a shorter guy and the stats might be correct, but he looks a lot shorter, you know what I mean? But Regis Progress is going to be the more aggressive fighter, And I just think Julius Ndongo will have to keep him at bay. But he's also going to have to land some power shots, you know what I mean? He can't just be pumping that jab. You check it. He's like the way he fought Ricky Burns, you know what I mean? He kept Ricky Burns at bay with the jab, and he kept dropping that left hand. Pop, pop. Kept dropping that left hand, and Ricky Burns was, he just couldn't get on the inside, you know what I mean? And he just had no answer for Julius Ndongo. You check it. Julius Ndongo also got to keep his punches close in, you know what I mean? He got to keep them more tighter. Can't be winging shots, because if he wings shots, that left hand of Regis Progress is real fast, and he can just throw it like on some Roy Jones shit, straight up, just like as a lead shot, you know what I mean? And, Julius Ndongo could get hurt if that's what he plans on doing, winging shots. He got to keep his tight end, his defense and his shots much tighter. Don't wing any shots. and he's gonna have to just keep this guy at bay and be awkward with it, And I think he can catch the man Regis Progress and make him have to reset it every shot and every time. But Regis Progress is a guy who's gonna probably want to get on the inside. You know what I mean? When he gets up close, when he closes that range, if he can, then he's also going to just going to make Julius Indongo have to fight, and that's what Julius Indongo doesn't want to get into. You know what I mean? Being in a brawl, because that's all Regis Progress wants to do. He said it out of his mouth himself. You know what I mean? He's just wants to make. He wants war. You know what I mean? Warfare. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want Julius Indongo to be throwing punches to the point where he's getting wild with it. Like in the first fight, the fight with Terrence Bud Crawford, when he got caught, Julius Indongo now wanted to fight. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to. He got drawn into a fight, and that's what left him open for all them shots he caught. You know what I'm saying? Especially the body shot. You know what I mean? Terrence Crawford countered him in the third round, and he caught him with the big body shot with the right hand, and it was wide open. And Julius Indongo, hopefully he's learned from that, and he should try not to get into a barn burner with this man Regis Progress. You know what I'm saying? So Julius Indongo has a lot of advantages, but it's up to, it's gonna be up to him to prove that he's improved since his last fight, and he's a world class fighter. Regis Progress is on that he's looking like he's on that trajectory, trying to become a world champion and be a world class fighter. Julius Indongo's already smelt it. He's been there, done that. Can he retain his position? As an older fighter, he's I think 35 years old, and Progress is like 27. You know what I mean? I think Regis Progress just has a little bit more fire in his belly. You know what I'm saying? And he's a guy who's it's been on Showbox. This fight's going to be on Showbox. Matter of fact, it's tonight, you know what I mean? And I just think Julius Indongo, it's going to be hard for him to keep this guy off of him for 12 rounds, you know what I mean? He's going to have to box a perfect fight, you know what I'm saying? Basically, to keep this guy Regis Progress at bay and looking confused and bedazzled in there, you know what I mean? And if Regis Progress gets on the inside, closes the distance, and has to make Julius Indongo have to back up and basically, get his range together, then it's a wrap, man. The man Julius Indongo will get caught in between it as many punches as he does taking steps backwards, you know what I mean? So I think in this fight, man, it's a tough fight, it's basically Regis Progress has been looking good. He's beat up a lot of tomato cans, but he's also taken a couple fellas O's, you know what I mean? Like them fellas Joel Diaz Jr. in his last fight, you know what I mean? So he's basically unknown as far as him on a world-class level. Best fight he's going to be facing in Julius Indongo. But I'm going to have to give the edge to Regis Progress, you know what I mean? I think Regis Progress is a hungry fighter. Not that Julius Indongo isn't, you know what I mean? But he showed some flaws in that fight versus Terrence Crawford that, if he hasn't corrected them by now, you know what I mean? And he's facing a much more aggressive fighter as far as a guy who's not really concerned about boxing, but more fighting and knocking fellas out, you know what I mean? And, I think Julius Indongo, if he wins this fight, it'll be a big upset, you know what I mean? He's definitely down on the odds not to win the fight, but I think he can if he employs, his reach and, boxing skills, and also throw power shots, you know what I'm saying, and catch this guy, Regis Progress, you know what I mean? Every single time he's basically, he needs to stall that man's reflexes as far as him with the head movement and trying to get his rhythm. If he does that, he could possibly win. But I just think Regis Progress is the better athlete in this fight, the much younger guy. I think youth shall prevail in this fight, It's a good fight. I'm looking forward to looking at it, to watching it. And I just think, Regis Progress will move on in this little mini format tournament and face the winner of that Ramirez kid versus Amir Imam later on down this month. You know what I mean? So that's my prediction. Hops in the chat says Progress 85% KO. You probably knew that, yes. And Indongo only 50. Yeah, definitely. Regis Progress the more aggressive fighter. MB says 140 is on fire at the moment. Yeah, man. Hey, man, let me touch on that one time, It's crazy in boxing, man. When there's a dominant fight in a particular division, it's crazy how fans or critics, whatever you want to call them, they say that particular division is boring. They've said that for years with Triple G, right? The middleweight division is boring. Maybe because he's dominating all his opponents. You know, some fighters didn't want to get in the ring with them fellas like at the time Peter Quillen, Kid Chocolate, you know what I'm saying? And even, you know, Danny Jacobs was hesitant at a point in time to get in the ring with him. A lot of middleweights, Sergio Martinez, you know, they weren't trying to get in the ring with Triple G when Triple G was now dominating and knocking over and he ended everybody who was in front of him. They said the division's weak. Same with Terrence Crawford, you know what I mean? Yeah, MBT Boxing says, and Klitschko at heavyweight for 10 years. Yeah, exactly. When a guy's dominant in the division, they say the division's weak. They said that for 2 years when Terrence Crawford was at 140, you know what I mean? They said that for 2 years, man. That division weak. Terrence Crawford's beating everybody in that division. Ain't nobody fucking with him in that division. And he clearly was the best in the division, you know what I mean? He was a class above everybody in that division. You know, he proved that with how he beat the man Victor Postol and, you know, went on to become undisputed. But now since Terrence Crawford has left that division's fire, you know what I'm saying? You check it, that's what MB was saying. And I agree with him. The division is fire, you know what I mean? But I was never one to be saying that division was weak when Terrence Crawford claimed undisputed. Everybody was saying, hey, ain't nobody else for him to fight. No question. That's why he moved up. There was nobody else for him to beat at 140. And he and everybody who they thought would be a challenge, like even Felix Diaz. Bud washed him. He beat them easily. Victor Postol, whitewash, you know what I'm saying? You know, Ray Beltran, you know what I mean? Was that at 140 or that was at 135? What was it? Delorme, the guy that he got the belt from, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, the one that vacant belt. So now that Buzz left that division's wide open and there's a lot of good fights that could be made. Actually, in the top 10 at 140, there's a lot of good fighters there. And if any of them fighters could be made, them fights could be made, we're going to see a lot of great boxing at the junior welterweight division, you know what I mean? And I'm looking forward to it, especially this month. We're going to have 2 fights already with championship contention between the Ramirez kid and the Mir Mom. Of course, Julius Indongo and what's the guy's name? The Prograis. Actually this weekend, Bartholomew and Kylie Relic for the WBA vacant 140-pound title. Mix and match any of those fighters with any of those guys, and you have a wonderful fight. You know what I mean? Who's that? What's left? IBF. You got Mikey Garcia and Limpinets. Mikey Garcia versus any of those guys is a wonderful fight. Then the WBO, we waiting for Flanagan and Maurice Hooker to get it on for that vacant WBO 140. Terrence Flanagan wins the fight, he should mix it up with other world-class fighters. So 140 is wide open, and it's a great division. A lot of great fights from the top number 1 to the top 10, you know what I mean? All right, so let me see what they're saying in the chat one time. Yeah, Hop says, hold on, where was I? 140. MBT says, and Klitschko at heavyweight. Yep, same way. Hop says to MBT exactly, and Bernard Hopkins and Andre Ward ETC, no question about it. B-Hop at 162. MBT tells Hop, beat me to it. MB shows quickly a division can go from bad to good. 140 was probably the worst 3 months ago. I mean, there were guys in there, but those guys just couldn't beat Terrence Crawford. Apart from that, if all those other guys fought and not fight Terrence Crawford, those are good fights to be made. Hop says, so tired of the whole boring thing. I even agree with MBT that I was fine with the first 4 filling out rounds of Wilder Ortiz. It's part of the game. But the fans booed, no question, man. It was, a filling out round, fellas are basically trying to read each other out, you know what I mean? Just like the AJ and Klitschko fight, nothing really exciting really happened till, maybe the 4th, 5th round. MBT says, when Limpinets beats the brakes out of Mikey Garcia, watch the haters say, that's why Bud moved out. That'll be hilarious, man. That was a funny one. MB says, Josh Taylor's, exactly. Another guy, Josh Taylor. Yeah, Josh Taylor is a good player in the division. Ulysses Yves, a guy, Haitian-Canadian out there in Canada, who just beat the hell out of that Hebrew Hammer dude. He's a good fighter too. And he's in the WBC rankings just like Josh Taylor. Matter of fact, those two should fight each other. Whoever wins out of that fight could face the eventual champion between, you know, the winner of the Ramirez kid and the Miramar, and whether it's Prograis and Indongo. Yeah, that's what they should do. MBT Boxer says Bartholomew better win. Cubans have having a bad run the past few months. Felix Diaz, Regis, Ortiz, Barrera, Bartholomew and Lara left. I agree with you, man. MBT Boxer says I love filling out rounds when there's two elite fighters in there. Yes, indeed, man. Can't go in there gun ho, man. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man. So that's my prediction, man. Progress. The division is on fire. I don't know what guys like Adrian Broner, what he's gonna be doing. Who was he supposed to fight in the? Oh yeah, Figueroa. That's at 147. So this fight with the other kid's gonna be at Jesse Vargas at 144 catch weight. I don't think AB can fight at 140. He looks drained at that division. He doesn't. He does, and he's not good enough to beat guys at 147. Maybe that's why he was calling out Keith Thurman, you know what I mean? Maybe try to get a good payday because he knows he really can't mess with the top dogs at 147. All right? Hop says, I'm sure some people are now saying that Bivol is boring. Hey, he's no Ali or Leonard, but I appreciate his effectiveness. No question, man. Bivol ain't boring, man. He's knocking fellas out. You know what I'm saying? He's a good come forward fighter, you know what I mean? Got the the straight up European style, you know what I mean? But he's punching through his targets, you know what I'm saying? So, hey, until he meets somebody who can nullify that, he's doing what he got to do, you know what I mean? And Kovalev needs to get in the ring with them. Both these guys on main event, they need to make that happen. MBT Boxing says, I love Bivol. He's so smooth and intelligent. He reminds me of a bigger version of Kostya Tszyu. Hop says that Bivol, talk about a piston-like jab. Yeah, that jab is what sets everything up, you know what I mean? So, yo, B-Marsh Boxing, man, I'm about to seal the deal on this live stream. You know what I'm saying? MB in the chat says Birichenko versus Petrov is a good fight tonight. Yeah, I'm going to find out about these guys. I'm not really familiar with them. I know it's an eliminator of some sorts, I think, for the IBF belt at 147, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm going to familiarize myself with these two guys tonight. Looking forward to this Showbox special edition out of South Dakota. I want to big up everybody who came through in the chat. Hop, MB, MBT Boxing, my man Boxing Fan. You know what I'm saying? Who else? Rob Gotti. Big ups to everybody who came through in the chat. Appreciate y'all participating. And I'm going to say peace. I'm going to see y'all fellas when I make my post-fight review. All right? I'm gone. Thanks for everybody. MBT, Hop, everybody. I'm gone. One.